Hello there. So,
Hi.
hi, Dr. Hughes. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Dr.
Yes,
Hughes?
Hughes.
Hughes?
Yes, correct. Mhm.
Well, thank you so much for accepting our interview, our invitation. My name is Elaine Chao. I am an ambassador from PM Ready and a co-founder of E3 Connect. We are eager to learn about your insights in healthy eating and nutrition. First, could you please briefly introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. My name is Dr. Tuere Hughes Kapenzi. I am a pediatrician who practices in Waldorf, Maryland. I've been practicing for over 10 years. And so, yes, healthy eating is kind of my bread and butter, what, no pun intended, of what I do every day, counseling parents on how best to get nutrition and everything like that into their kids in a healthy and in the most effective, efficient way.
I find that really inspiring. Well, thank you so much for Dr. Hughes. Let me ask my first question. So, what are some simple ways kids can make healthier choices when eating out or at school?
Right, so that's a great question. And what I would usually recommend, especially when eating out, school sometimes is a little bit harder, I'll be honest, if you're opting to eat the school lunch because there are limited options. But if there are options for this, generally just making sure that their plate is as balanced as possible. So ideally have something on the plate that's a protein. So that's usually, if not meats, it's beans, avocado, nut butters, those types of things, which again may or may not be on that school menu. Usually a meat is on there at least. Having something as a fruit or a vegetable ideally on that plate, and then having something that's a starch as well. So that's usually the bread, the rice, those things that are easier to find. So just trying to make that meal balanced as possible. And if we're not going to eat the school lunch, then packing a lunch, or having parents packing or a child packing their lunch that ideally has those different ingredients in it as well. And then eating out like fast food, there are ways to kind of choose healthier options. So one, choosing restaurants that will have some healthy options, that will have some vegetables on their menu, so that you can have the kind of good tasting stuff, but then making sure that we're adding some vegetables on there. They have a salad option or they have some other type of vegetable option, or a fruit option, to make sure that, again, that meal is balanced and not just full of carbohydrates and fats, which a lot of fast food is what that typically contains.
I totally agree with you. It's actually crucial to like have a balanced lunch at school because like your parents aren't watching you, like especially if like you don't pack your own lunch, your parents don't make you your own lunch, and you have to get the cafeteria school lunch. And I know that like a lot
Yeah.
of cafeteria lunch in America aren't really the most balanced type of meals.
Right.
So I
Mhm.
really so if I could talk to schools about one thing, the only thing I would say is to have a
Mhm.
balanced meal.
Mhm. Right. If schools could make sure that they have those options, they have healthy protein options, and not necessarily just meats, but other healthy protein options. They have fruits and vegetable options for
Of
kids.
course.
That'd be super important.
Well, thank you for that. So, how can
Mhm.
parents help kids develop a positive relationship with food from an early age?
Mhm. That's a really great question as well, and a question that I talk with parents a lot about. And so, a couple of ways that parents can make and eating healthy kind of a positive experience for kids is, one, to let kids be involved in the process of cooking and preparing foods at home. So a child is more likely to be interested in and to want to eat or try new foods if they kind of help with the process of making it. And there's so many different recipes, and types of cooking that a child can help with that doesn't necessarily involve cutting, using a knife, or working around a stove or hot object. Another way parents can make sure they make the experience positive for kids is to make sure that there's not any kind of forcing or power struggles around food. So a common thing that I talk to parents about is how to get kids to eat more veggies. And what I usually counsel them is you don't want to make it a power struggle where it's eat these veggies or else. What you want to do instead is encourage eating veggies, but also to continue to give kids some autonomy. So I'll kind of tell parents, encourage your kid to try vegetables, and even if it's something they didn't like in the past, encourage them to try it again because they may like it when it's cooked a different way. It's got different seasonings, things like that on there. And it can take several times for someone to eat a particular food before they develop a taste for it. So again, encourage them to taste it, to try it, kind of make a deal that they have to do one bite, one spoonful, one forkful. But then the other part of the bargain is that the child should be allowed to say, hey, I tasted that, I didn't like it, so they shouldn't be forced to eat a full serving of it. For younger kids, sometimes incentivizing eating vegetables, you get a star, you get a sticker for eating a full serving of vegetables. And then when you've collected a certain number of stars or stickers, you get a bigger prize. That can kind of help, again, create a positive relationship around healthy foods. And that's something that can be done not just with vegetables, but with any foods, any new foods that you want your child to try. And again, that makes it more positive rather than a negative power struggle type experience.
That's an amazing answer to this question. Yes, it is really important to show, it's really important to not force your kids to finish foods that they don't like, foods that they already tried and so that they don't like it. It's really important not to shove it into their mouth and say, oh, you have to eat this, or I'm gonna take away this, blah 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 blah, like that. And yes, I totally agree when you said that they can take small steps, like you can take one bite, 2 bites, 3 bites, and each bite they take, they can earn a sticker, like you said. And I just think that that'll really encourage little kids to eating more healthy, because they're little kids, right? And they love prizes. And encouraging small little kids really make them make them think that this is a good thing and they need to do more of it.
Yes, exactly. And over time, they will likely open up kind of their palate to more and new different types of foods. So, that's usually the goal with that.
Well, thank you. So, what are the best foods for kids to eat before a game to maximize their energy and focus?
So that's a great question as well. What types of foods are really important prior to exercise to kind of help maximize endurance throughout that exercise or that sport activity or whatever it is that child may be doing, and to help them maintain focus would be protein is really important, but also prior to exercise, carbohydrates are important as well, particularly complex carbohydrates, because that's what's going to give more immediate energy, and proteins are going to give more sustainable energy. So, for example, complex carbohydrates, eating something with a whole grain like oats, oatmeal, an oat bar, potatoes would even be okay. That's a good complex carbohydrate. Fruit, yogurt. So something that's starchy and has some sugar in it, right? But healthy sugars is a great snack prior to exercise. And then if you can mix in some protein in there, so maybe a meat snack or some cheese or some nuts along with it, that's going to give, again, that more sustained energy. So the complex carbs are going to give that immediate energy, that immediate boost that you need, and the protein's going to help with the kind of the long-term and sustained energy and focus. So that usually is kind of a great snack before physical activity.
So I was just wondering, because I like to eat energy bars, so I was wondering if energy bars can help improve kids' performances at their competitions or games.
So energy bars, it kind of all depends. It depends on what it contains. So if it's an energy bar that is labeled as an energy bar because it has some of those complex carbohydrates. So it has some oats, it has some whole grains in it. It may have something with a little bit of protein in there as well. So maybe it's a yogurt bar, and that's what qualifies it as an energy bar. Then yes, that would be a great snack, especially if it's relatively low in sugar, or in, non-complex carbohydrate type sugar. Then yes, that could be a great snack. Now, as long as I don't usually recommend kids doing a lot of caffeine or caffeinated products. So as long as that energy bar doesn't contain that in there, because caffeine can cause more of a crash and burn, and not always the best option for kids. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. But if it's an energy bar in the sense that it has protein and complex carbohydrates, that would absolutely be a great snack prior to exercise.
Well, good to know that. Well, help me with that. If I have another competition. Well, thank you. So, how can young athletes, if they got injured, recover after a sport or activity? And what foods are best for recovery?
So after exercise, what becomes more important is again the proteins. Proteins are what help with recovery. And so that's the time where you don't need as much complex carbohydrates because you're not being active anymore. So you don't need that energy that you're going to burn immediately. You need more of that sustained energy and that thing that's going to help to repair muscle and help rebuild muscle after exercise, especially if there's an injury. So great protein type foods would be, lean meats. Nuts are great. Any types of nuts are a great protein snack. Peanut butter and other nut butters would be great protein snacks as well. And then beans and other legumes and some whole grains that may contain protein, such as quinoa, chia, those types of things are going to be great options for protein after physical activity as well.
Can you give me some example of like specific meats that you can eat for proteins?
Yes, and no, that's a good question. So I would recommend kind of lean meats. So for example, it might be a chicken breast, would be a nice healthy meat. Turkey would be a nice healthy meat. If it is going to be beef, like beef jerky, that would be kind of a nice lean meat, or a lean cut of steak would be okay as well. Not anything too fatty. So those would be some examples of lean meats that could help with recovery after exercise.
Sounds like a good mom would feed their children.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you for that. So, let's see. How can kids who follow a vegetarian or plant-based diet ensure they get all the essential nutrients they need?
Yeah, so that's something that is more and more becoming the way that people are moving, more towards plant-based and vegetarian diets. And it's absolutely possible to still maintain a very healthy, balanced diet that is fully plant-based. And, there are some studies that show a plant-based diet may even be better than a meat-based or omnivorous diet in some ways. But what's most important is, again, the balance of the different types of nutrients. So with a plant-based diet, you're usually going to make sure you're getting lots of fruits and vegetables still, which is important. You still can eat all of your starchy foods that are going to give you carbohydrates. But the part that is sometimes confusing is the protein part again. So I feel like we keep going back to the protein conversation. But proteins, it's absolutely, you're absolutely able to get in proteins without eating meats. Because again, there are a lot of other foods that have proteins in them. There are some substitutes, so you can do meat substitutes. So you can do things like tofu or kind of artificial meat products like Beyond Meat and vegetarian meats and things like that. They don't actually have meat in them, but they're made to kind of look like and mimic meat. They may contain black beans, they may contain mushrooms, they may contain other things that kind of look or taste like meat but are not actually meat. But also you can do things that don't look or taste like meat at all. So again, like I said, tofu, you can do lots of beans. So I love garbanzo beans or chickpeas, lentils, black beans, kidney beans. Pretty much any type of bean is going to be chock full of protein for you, and a great part of a plant-based diet. Again, the nuts are going to be good, healthy proteins as well. Any kind of nuts or any kind of nut butters, whether it's peanuts or tree nuts, like almonds, cashews, pecans, all of those are good options. And then just depending on if that plant-based diet is intended to be a vegan diet or not, there are dairy products that are great protein sources as well. So milk is a great protein source. And even if it's not cow's milk, oat milk, almond milk, or other soy milk are great protein options. Cheese is a great protein option as well. Eggs. So again, plenty of foods that someone doing a plant-based or vegetarian diet that they can eat to still maintain great nutrition.
Wow. Your answer really surprised me because, I have a vegetarian friend at my school currently, and well, based on your answer, I asked her, "Oh, wait. So, since you're vegetarian, I'm curious about what type of food you eat, because, well, like meat contains protein in them, and I don't know, and I didn't know that there was other stuff that contained protein in them. So I just asked them, how could you get the proper nutrition you needed? And then so they answered exactly what you answered. Like they said, they tried out food that also had protein. They tried tofu, lots of nuts, like you said, tree nuts. And of course, I noticed that their parents didn't pack their food for them. So they, my school, they provided vegetarian lunch
Okay.
for them. So I found that really amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that included like baby tomatoes, cucumbers, like basic things that a regular salad would contain. So.
Okay.
Oh.
Great.
So, what are some delicious and easy plant-based meals that kids can help prepare at home?
Okay. Yeah, so there are a lot of great options. A couple that I like. I'll start kind of with some beverages because that's always something easy to prepare. So smoothies are a great healthy thing that kids can prepare easily. And for a smoothie, what I usually recommend is getting starting with fruits, because fruits are what's sweet and make the smoothie taste good. So starting with any fruits that you really enjoy, whether that's bananas, strawberries, peaches, the list goes on. That can start as kind of the base of the smoothie, but then remembering to throw in some veggies is a great way to kind of sneak in even more nutrition in there without really having to taste it as much. So you can throw in kale, broccoli, celery, spinach to that smoothie, and that's going to add some great nutrition. And then you can even add some protein, add some of those things that I mentioned, like chia seeds, add some yogurt, add some milk to that smoothie. And that can really be a really well-balanced meal or snack because it can have all of those different things in there and still taste great. And that's something kids can help with. They can throw all of the things in the smoothie maker, hit the button, turn it on, and then get to taste a yummy treat at the end of it. Other things would be things like, I like a good poke bowl. So with a poke bowl, for example, you can take kind of lots of different sides and things, and especially if you have a house with multiple people who like slightly different things, you can kind of have different options, and each person can pick what they want in their bowl. So you might have some rice, ideally a whole grain, so like brown rice or quinoa or farro. That can be the base of it. You can have some types of beans, you can have some vegetables, maybe cucumbers or tomatoes, corn maybe. You can have a meat maybe, and then each person can kind of pick and choose which thing they want in their bowl to make it fun. Avocado is a great thing to add to a poke bowl as well. So yeah, that's something that kids could be involved with, helping with making a really nice poke bowl as well. Yeah.
Well, considering this also like makes your kids think that making healthy food is fun, and if it's something they really enjoy to eat, it'll make them want to explore more healthy foods and explore their
Yeah.
interests. So they'll
Mhm.
have a more balanced meal. So showing your kids and like cooking with them, cooking healthy, like making healthy foods with them. Well, just I don't know why, but they just have a mindset that this is what I'm supposed to do. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, so my next question is, what can
Yes.
kids and teens do to help fight hunger in their communities? And how can we make a real difference?
hmm I really love that question because that's something that's near and dear to my heart. But almost every community has and typically has what are called food banks. So if you're a kid and you're looking to kind of help out in the community, help to fight hunger in your community, what I would recommend is going on whatever search engine you use and looking up local food banks and just put in local food banks in that search engine. And one or more food banks in your area should pop up. There's also a site called Feeding America where you can go on that site and put in your zip code or your local address, and it will kind of show you a food bank in your area. And then at that food bank, you could help out one of two ways. You could either donate food to the food bank, because those food banks usually are going to accept donations, especially of kind of non-perishable items. So it might be as simple as going in your pantry or on your cabinets at home and finding some things that maybe have been sitting there for a little while that you guys are not eating, or that you can ask your parents if there's any of this we can donate. You want to make sure nothing's expired. You want to make sure it's all still good. But things that you might not be using at home or that your parents are okay with your donating, you can then drop them off at that food bank, and then the food bank will make sure that those foods go to families in need. The other way you could help out is you could volunteer. So on most of those food bank sites, there's option or information to kind of volunteer and help out with dispersing food to families in need or helping get that food organized or whatever it may be. Um, and then a lot of local churches may do some type of, if not a food bank specifically, but some type of donating and helping families in need. So sometimes it's just, if you go to a church in your area, just asking at your own church if they have something where you can help out with that. So lots of different ways that you can get involved and help fight hunger right in your area.
I 100% agree with that. Because also donating food, like you said, donating food is very important to help someone in need, to help children in our area to eat better.
Exactly. Get food and also get good healthy food. Yep, I agree with you.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Hughes, for joining us and sharing your insights into making healthier choices, fostering positive relationships with food, and the importance of nutrition for young athletes. As we wrap up, let's remember that promoting healthy eating habits is a journey that involves both parents and children. We hope this conversation empowers you to inspire the young ones in your life to embrace healthier eating habits and make a positive impact in their communities. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to our next episode.